The following is a segment from Session 10 of the Honestly Better Mental Fitness Show. If you would like a list of all the segments and the full sessions, please visit honestlybetterfitness.com/list. That's honestlybetterfitness.com/list.
Welcome to LNH Industrial, Honestly Better Mental Fitness. I found mental fitness a few years ago, and it changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And now we're bringing it to all of LNH Industrial to put it out to the rest of the world. Thank you for joining us. I would love to, if anybody's here live that would like to bring in issues or topics, please do. We can talk about them. And if you would love to talk about it one-on-one, I'd be happy to meet you anytime one-on-one to talk about what you can do better in relationships. And actually, most of the time is the focus on how do you be a better partner, spouse, human being, and how that impacts then the relationships afterwards as a result of you being your best self. Before we dive into the 5 things that I brought today, I'm going to talk about a little bit about what is the purpose of relationships? Why do we get together? Relationships are probably our greatest source of joy and love, and also conflict, bitterness, resentment, and sadness, probably. I think they're both of those things here. So I think in anybody that's been in a relationship long-term has probably sat at one point and thought, why am I doing this? What do I get out of this? And I think it's a great question to ask. So I'll leave it open if anybody wants to throw in, why do we even bother with this thing of this messy thing called marriage, called relationships, called whatever form it takes for you. It's extreme difficulty, pain, joy, suffering, all those things, and almost all of it are drawn to it. Are we moths to a flame that are doomed to pull into this thing, or is there some deeper thing going on in there? Any thoughts? I'll give a second of pause to see if there's anything that you want to jump in about why do you think we partner?
I think a big one is so that you're not lonely. And okay. I think one of the mistakes that I know I made in the past, I was divorced twice before, but not being able to be alone, not being able to be alone with myself. But that loneliness also, when Viktor Frankl says that, on your deathbed, you're gonna think about all the love in your life. So it's really about capturing and growing that love. That's what you'll cherish the most, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds right.
I think some of the I'm hearing is some of the greatest joy in life is the love that we give and the things that we share. Something like that. I think that loneliness that you brought in of why is probably a deep why of why people do choose to. I think there's something inherent that we're not meant to be alone. That we're a social animal and we're made, built, evolved, whatever it is, to be with each other. And our worst punishments are solitary confinement. And if you look at primate studies, anytime a primate's totally isolated, they end up withering and dying. So there is something deep in that we need each other, that we're designed and built to be together. And when the sole reason is because I don't want to be lonely, I think there's also some a component missing in there, right? It leads us to make choices of partners or compromises or sacrifices in relationships that end up not serving us well. I think a deep part of relationships, and I put up here, a great relationship is one where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think if you take any system and break it down, a machine is just a whole bunch of gears, but you put all these gears together and then this magical thing happens. And I think the opportunity for a relationship to be that way, that the 2 people together are great, but the 2 people individually are great, but the 2 people together is even better. There's some powerful, magical thing that happens that the whole is greater. I don't think I quite put that right. It's greater than its individual components, right? The sum of them is greater than the individual components. And I think there's a deep thing that I see that
is an interesting thing, pattern that I see over and over again of like, who are we attracted to? I think we can probably have a whole talk just on attraction and why we're attracted to and what we are attracted to and how it changes over time and some of the deep things that are in there. But one of the things that I've seen that I think leads to this is this attraction to sometimes our opposites or to things that we are not, to the qualities that we don't have, to perspectives that are new and interesting and engaging and exciting to us. Someone that maybe we're more reserved and we're attracted to someone that helps us open up and be more adventurous or risk-taking. Maybe we're more chaotic and scattered and we're attracted to someone who's orderly and seems like they have life put together and they're not thrown off by this, chaos of life that we get to see. And I think that's part of the beauty of the relationship is this like yin and yang relationship of black and white or, opposites, like that the whole idea of opposites attract. And that saying, there's a funny saying of like, that's funny and true, opposites attract and then attack. I think I saw it like on a refrigerator somewhere, right? Like we're attracted to them because they're the opposite of us and they're exciting. And then we're in a relationship and then we hate them or we resent them or we're frustrated with them because, we're orderly and they're chaotic. We're neat and they're messy. They like to talk all the time and we like quiet. And so then we start to resent, or that's where the conflict starts to come in. That's also, I think, the point of the relationship is that's where the conflict can come in. And that's also where the growth comes in. And I think a deep purpose of relationship is to help us grow, learn, and understand ourselves and others better. And this like growth edge is painful. I like things orderly, or I like things to be loose and structured, or whatever it is. This other person that's constantly pulling you in this other direction is this source of friction. And is also the source of like beauty and growth and purpose of it. And so part of, I think, the overall message of today is going to be to lean into that discomfort, like lean into that growth. Because like anywhere there's discomfort, there's growth. Not 100%. There's some exceptions in there, but I think often learning and taking on new perspectives is the point of the relationship and is the difficulty of the relationship. Does that make sense? That following my tracking and all? Oh. Yeah, there's this sense of interdependence, not dependence on each other, but like this, we are better together. Like it is the team, I think of like the Avengers or the X-Men, like the beauty of it, of this group is the differences. Like if they were all one superhero, well, then they would all be like weak to the same thing, right? But because where one is strong, the other is weak, they are able to be better together than they are apart. And it's what makes it difficult in the conflict. There probably won't be anything new or massively, maybe there will be. I guess what I'm saying is the things that make or break relationship are the small things. It is like the accumulation of small daily wounds and not the conflict, but the inability to deal with conflict. That is what tears apart relationships. And so I brought in this idea of like changing your oil in your car is not exciting, right? It's not this great thing, or it's not this like big, amazing thing. And it's what's necessary to maintain it long term, because you love it, because you care for it, you maintain it. And paying attention to the small things, not just the big things, is part of what makes relationships work. Okay, well, that very long intro, we'll dive in here.